Bacardi rum. Steeped in a time-honored tradition, combining science and technology.
But that bottle's going to spin a few times to get labeled.
Art and passion.
You cannot imagine how much fun we have making rum.
A multi-billion-dollar industry owned by one family. And today, some family members reunite to create their best rum yet. A new blend celebrating their 150-year history. Now, get an exclusive look behind the back door at Bacardi's Ultimate Factory. This is the Cathedral of Rum, Bacardi's main distillery near San Juan, Puerto Rico. Here they produce more than 200 million bottles of rum a year to sell in more than 100 countries. A new shift begins. On a typical day, they process more than 40,000 gallons of rum.
Adelante para Joe Gomez.
And the man in charge is Joe Gomez.
I've been making rum for 32 years, so I guess passion have to be a very important part of it.
He's the maestro, or master blender. All Bacardi rums are blended from various rum stocks. And it's Joe's job to mix the stocks, to ensure the rum we buy at the store lives up to the Bacardi standard.
It's really, it's lovely.
Today, he faces a new challenge. He'll help the 8 retired Bacardi family master blenders create an historic new blend to commemorate their 150th anniversary. In preparation of their visit, Joe selects some of his finest rum stocks the family will use for the new rum.
We are very excited and looking forward to that meeting.
Meanwhile, across the plant, Jose Class is busy with the everyday business of making the rum. He's head of production at Bacardi. Almost every bottle of rum starts with him. And he relies on technology to help keep the rum at a consistent flavor profile.
Can you please send the first molasses tank truck here?
And it all starts with the delivery of fresh molasses.
Mira, pásate al del lado izquierdo, al nuevo. This is actually the sugarcane molasses, and this is actually our raw material for rum production. It's like honey made out of sugarcane.
Every year from November to April, Bacardi buyers scour the tropical countries of the world in search of the highest quality sugarcane. Machines harvest and process it. They place it in the sugarcane crushing machine, where it's pulverized to extract every last drop of the sweet juice. The liquid is boiled and turned into molasses. Lab technicians check the viscosity, ensuring the consistency is just right for the sugar to convert to alcohol. The molasses then travels to the Bacardi plant near San Juan, Puerto Rico.
This is gonna be pumped up to the fermentation area where we're gonna put water, yeast, and we're gonna turn it into rum.
The rum is produced on a 125-acre facility divided into 6 main production areas. The first stage is the fermentation house, then the distillery, the filling station, the aging warehouse, filtering, blending, and the final bottling in Jacksonville, Florida. Bacardi pumps more than 60,000 gallons of molasses into the fermentation house every day. And Jose's job is to take every drop of the black sap and turn it into alcohol. Jose mixes the molasses with water. At this point, the controller adds yeast, which turns the sugar into alcohol. This strain of yeast is under tight security. Biochemist Rebecca Santini is only one of 6 scientists at Bacardi with the privilege to work with it.
We have to have a lot of security because this is our baby.
This yeast was discovered and cultivated over 150 years ago by Bacardi's founder, Don Facundo Bacardi Massot.
This is very special for us. This is the only yeast that we use. This is the Bacardi yeast.
It may not look like much, but this microorganism gives Bacardi its distinctive flavor.
This is a great son of the original.
This sample is ready to seed a new generation of yeast. She transfers the healthy live cells to a solution of yeast-friendly nutrients. When it's ready, she sends the yeast to the fermentation area, where Jose Class stands by.
Adelante, Héctor Martínez, para clase.
Jose gives the green light to start the fermentation.
Héctor, por favor, indícame los tanques que se encuentran fermentando en este momento.
Buenos días, señor Clark. Está fermentando en este momento. El tanque 2 es el más reciente.
The yeast eats the sugar, converting it to alcohol. This is the first step of turning the molasses to an alcoholic brew called distiller's beer.
Muy buenos días, muy bien. ¿Y usted?
The computers help ensure a consistent product.
We have been able to achieve the same rum with the same quality for 150 years. The way we do that, we start here at the fermentation stage. What I have here is a tank that was just filled half an hour ago. So this tank is just starting the fermentation process. Oh boy, this tank is really fermenting pretty good. As you can see, CO2 is really high. I can't almost breathe here.
This natural chemical reaction releases the odorless and invisible gas, carbon dioxide.
If I just put my face in there, I'm gonna be in shock. I'm not gonna have any oxygen to breathe. It's telling us that the carbon dioxide levels are above what are supposed to be in a working environment. So right now I need to close this tank.
The natural reaction also causes a rapid increase in heat.
Actually, this heat is not very good for the yeast, so we need to remove that heat.
If he doesn't remove the heat, 50,000 gallons of distiller's beer will be ruined, and there will be no rum. So Jose must keep the temperature between 88 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a delicate dance that requires careful monitoring of the yeast, sugar, and alcohol concentrations.
I'm looking how well the fermentation is going. by an increase in temperature and a decrease in sugar content.
More alcohol is produced as the sugar content decreases. But too much alcohol kills the yeast.
Tanque número 4.
If done correctly, Jose can produce up to 500,000 gallons of distiller's beer a day. And when a batch is complete, Jose pulls up to the keg and pours himself a pint.
At this point, it's not tasty, but it smells amazing. Now I'm gonna get this sample to the laboratory for some initial testing.
Now that the fermentation is complete, Jose can move on to the next step, distillation. The making of Bacardi rum has always been a family tradition, and today is no different. The retired family master blenders have arrived to create the 150th anniversary special edition rum. They're all related to the founder of Bacardi, and each has worked as a master blender, but haven't been back in years. Rum is in their blood, and their passion has never waned.
You can feel the fumes talking to you, you know, they call, this is the spirit that we give to the gods, you know.
I hadn't felt it in a long time, but it brings back so many memories.
It's like a miracle. You have the spirits of the rum. It turns into a very mellow and nice tasting rum.
The special new rum will be made for all family members, once again keeping the heritage alive. While the family royals get a VIP tour, Jose goes to the laboratory to test the fermented brew. Before he sends 50,000 gallons to the distillery, he checks the alcohol content of his sample.
We have a standard of how much alcohol should be produced in our fermentation process. So by looking at this, we know if we're not producing enough alcohol, there might be a problem we might need to fix.
They start by boiling the distiller's beer. This causes the alcohol to evaporate and the vapors to rise to the top. It then travels down a condenser, where it cools and becomes the distillate.
What we're doing here is we're separating the alcohol from the beer. So if I don't have as much alcohol, then I will not have as much alcohol here. Simple. Very simple. And I went to school for that.
The result is a clear, fiery 150 proof distillate, also known as a rum base. Once he determines the sample has the proper alcohol content, Jose can move on to the next stage, sending all 50,000 gallons of distiller's beer to the distillery to make the base. This is the 5-story distillery.
Adelante piña, te veo en el cuarto de control ahora.
And Jose manages it from a central control room. His team monitors each step of distillation to ensure a consistent Bacardi product. Here, they make 2 distinct rum bases. One rum base gets distilled just once, in an industrial-sized version of the laboratory test. Inside the still, the hot distiller's beer flows past metal plates at around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Just like the mini distillery, the alcohol turns into vapor, which then separates from the distiller's beer and rises to the top. The vapor then flows into the condenser, and it turns into a potent liquid, which flows back down to the bottom of the system and is sent to a storage tank. This base is called aguardiente. It has a distinct flavor and aroma that provides the backbone for Bacardi rum. The second rum base goes through a 5-step distillation process, where it's purified. and becomes a high-proof alcohol. Because of the multiple steps, this base is called redistillado, literally meaning redistilled. Back in the control room, Jose's team monitors 80,000 gallons of alcohol through distillation.
At the beginning of this process, the beer has about 10% alcohol. Then we separate those alcohols into the different distillation columns, and the product that we get out of it, it's between 75 to 95% alcohol.
The distilled rum bases then travel through the pipes and into 80,000 gallon tanks. Jose's job is complete, but the rum's journey is not over.
In order for them to be called rum, they have to be blended at different proportions, under different conditions, and that's something that the blender will have to tell you, and then kill you.
Now, Master Blender Joe Gomez takes over.
We need to make two different products to start with, because that's what really gives Bacardi. It's a flexibility in terms of how many finished products, how many Bacardi rum we can blend.
They look the same, but are distinctly different.
We have to smell the product to be able to tell them apart, because as you can see, when they are fresh, they are both colorless. Aguardiente is where the flavor and the aroma associated to rum really is, versus redestilado, which is a quote-unquote almost neutral product.
It's Joe's craft to blend the two rum bases and turn them into a Bacardi rum. Whether it's a light rum or a dark rum, the final blends of Bacardi come from these two rum bases.
Hey Jose, ¿cómo estás, hijo? ¿Todo bien?
¿Cómo está el producto? Actually, one day I will be blending more with him, and he's my mentor.
Jose have a pretty good nose. He's very sharp.
But for now,
He makes a rum. I blend it.
and he does it all with his nose and palate. Turning a rum base into the Bacardi rum you buy takes the next critical step: aging.
Adelante para Joe Gomez.
To begin the aging process, Joe Gomez puts the rum bases into these wooden barrels.
There is going to be significant transformations inside the barrel, that they are going to change the flavor and the aroma of the product. They are going to change the color and the appearance of the product. Barrels are very important to the rum production process.
But Joe doesn't make new barrels, he buys used. And surprisingly, he gets them from his competition, American bourbon and whiskey producers.
We cannot expose fresh rum to brand new barrels, because the barrel will imprint the fresh rum with a profile that is not going to be typical of rum. These are a barrel that has been used once, made of white oak, totally handmade, and with a medium toast inside.
These barrels are made at a factory in Louisville, Kentucky. Inside an enclosed room, the barrels are toasted like bread, browning the wood at a low heat. This brings out the sugars and caramels. But toasting isn't enough. The barrels are then charred. Burning the wood draws out even more flavors and textures that infuse into the spirits. The barrels are first used to make American whiskey and bourbon. And when finished, Bacardi buys them. Once in Puerto Rico, they're sent to the cooper room to be cleaned and stripped of any whiskey flavor. After a 24-hour cleansing bath, they give any damaged barrels a little TLC. After final inspection, the barrel is ready for the rum bases. Before filling them, the crew pumps the rum bases from the storage vats through a charcoal filtration system. These large steel columns hold a natural carbon filter proprietary to Bacardi. The rum stock seeps through slowly to ensure quality. This removes any impurities from the fresh rum. After filtration workers pump the rum bases into these wooden barrels, each barrel is filled with either the aguardiente or redistillado.
And then make sure that there is no leak, that the integrity of the cask is fine. We are ready to go.
Workers fill 1,800 barrels a day with more than 88,000 gallons of rum base. Then, the crew moves the barrels from the filling station to the aging warehouse. And what happens inside is a little bit of black magic. What goes in doesn't come out. In the Bacardi aging warehouse, Mother Nature does her thing. The young rum bases age in darkness, slowly maturing into a flavorful rum.
The barrel is just an incredible and lovely instrument that helps us to mature the product.
While they age, the spirits change in texture, color, flavor, and aroma.
After 1 year, we are going to have sort of a pale yellow. But as we are moving into 6, 8 years, then that pale yellow starts turning to amber.
And because of the placement and conditions of each barrel, the bases age differently.
these two barrels are not necessarily the same, of course. And on the other hand, Mother Nature is going to have different effect in both of them.
The tropical heat and humidity affect the aging process too. The air permeates the barrel, allowing the rum to extract complex flavors from the wood. Joe has to monitor these barrels carefully to manage any evaporation loss.
For example, today is a typical day. It's probably 98 and extremely humid. The one that we are trying to get a sample at now probably has lost anywhere between 10 to 15%.
This evaporation is called the angel's share. With all the variables changing the flavor, it's nearly impossible to make each batch taste the same. That's why Joe must blend them. This ensures every bottle of rum tastes consistent. It's Joe's precise sense of smell and memory that allows him to identify the smallest variations in the batches.
The result is really incredible. Note of fruit, flowers, vanilla, okay? It's really amazing. It's really it's lovely. And then it has a very nice background of white oak, like in the back.
Then he tastes it. But first, he has to dilute the 150 proof firewater.
Once I'm able to lower that, then a lot of nice notes of fruits and flowers are able to come out of solution, and you then are able to perceive an incredible bouquet. We love to drink rum. This is our life. This is what we do for a living, okay? But remember, always with moderation.
Once he identifies the batches he wants to blend, he mixes them following the family secret formula to hit the exact flavor profile of a specific Bacardi rum. This is an art that was perfected by Bacardi's founder in Cuba 150 years ago. And one of the reasons Bacardi grew into a wealthy and powerful Cuban family empire. In the 1940s, Bacardi's financial and political power catches the eye of the dictator, General Batista, who wants to take control and nationalize the company.
While Batista smiles and shakes hands, still another revolutionary group is...
Under this threat, Bacardi moves ownership of its trademarks and secret blending formulas outside of Cuba. In 1960, with Fidel Castro in control, the Cuban government confiscates the family business, seizing their assets. Betrayed, the Bacardi family has little choice but to flee in exile. Many move to Puerto Rico, where they continue to make rum. Today, that tradition of rum making lives on. 8 elite creators of Bacardi rum are here and ready to blend the 150th anniversary rum. This rum will encompass their extraordinary history as a family and a company. And Joe is in the hot seat. He must find the rum bases for the family to use. Along with his co-worker, Willie Ramos, they search the enormous warehouse for the best of the best rum bases, many aged up to 20 years and beyond. His selection will be given to the master family blenders for them to blend the new rum. But first, he needs to evaluate each barrel.
This is, you said this was 19?
This is over 1920, yeah.
1920?
See, Willie?
Wow, that's a beautiful color.
These have a beautiful color. Check this out. I think you have the proper profile that we are looking for.
Wow, this alone, Maestro, is fantastic.
In this special edition, age is a major selection criteria.
There are few occasions that we received very nice surprise. We was pulling some real old product, and we came out with a barrel that has been with us for like over 28, 30 years. The real thing. Pruébalo.
Pruébalo.
No, me están grabando. Pruébalo.
With each barrel they tap, he analyzes the richness, aromas, and smoothness.
This one is gonna do the trick.
I hope it works out after,
I think it will.
His goal is to narrow it down to around 20 rum bases for the family master blenders.
How about if you use this one too?
That would be an option. Get me the really dark one, please.
The really dark one? Okay. Alrighty.
Once he finalizes the selection, he passes it on to the master family blenders to begin the process of blending the new rum.
It's a combination of sensorial.
Here in the jury room, the family works their blending magic, each bringing his own experiences to the table.
Which one you prefer the most, and in order?
There's also good that it's a matter of preference.
It's very good. It's amazing.
Joe watches in anticipation.
Very nice. Very impressive.
Each of us looking for a rum that's going to provide continuity. So something that will certainly, build on what came before, but with perhaps a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a flavor that people aren't accustomed to.
Collectively, they must create 4 different rums, and then vote which one will become the special 150th anniversary rum.
Excellent. Excellent.
And the tasting itself is very difficult because the product actually changes in the glass over time.
But can they agree on just one blend? After all, they're family.
Somebody's cheating. Somebody's looking at my paper, teacher.
Don't look at my paper.
On a typical day, Bacardi produces and bottles thousands of gallons of Bacardi rum. When the rums have aged to Joe's specifications, he sends the barrels from the aging warehouse to the filling station for siphoning. Workers pump the rum into these large vats where they're blended together. Then they transfer the blended rum to the shipping trucks. This highly potent rum bulk is undiluted at 150 proof. Finally, it's transported to the processing and bottling facility in Jacksonville, Florida, where it becomes the finished rum we buy at the store. This fresh delivery has just arrived from Puerto Rico.
If I could just have you park in this first spot right over here. All right, thank you.
Mitch Schultz is part of a team that oversees the entire processing plant. It's his job to check the quality and dilute the rum with water before sending it to bottling.
We check off each seal to make sure that each seal is still intact and the tanker has not been opened whatsoever. This rum comes in at over 150 proof, so it's extremely flammable.
He pumps the rum into one of the 500,000 gallon tanks.
I take a sample from the tank to take to our quality control laboratory where they check the proof and they also set it for a 5-person taste and aroma. Hey Calvin, how you doing?
Hey Mitch, how are you?
Good, I've got a...
Every step along the way, Mitch personally tastes the rum in a controlled laboratory to ensure it meets Bacardi's standards.
It's over 150 proof, so you wouldn't want to take this straight on, otherwise you might fall over.
So he adds a quick shot of purified water.
I'm looking for that woody, smooth taste that is known for Bacardi rums. And now that I've tasted my my standard, I'm going to taste my sample to ensure that it meets the same quality. And it conforms very nicely.
Now he dilutes all the rum with filtered water to ensure absolute purity. He pushes in about 1 part water and 1 part rum. It takes 2 hours to fill the 35,000 gallon tank. After it's mixed, the alcohol is diluted to around 80 proof. Now it's ready for bottling. These 3 production lines run for 24 hours, 5 days a week, filling up to 1 million bottles of Bacardi Superior rum each day.
This is where the real fun begins. You know they're gonna go up. You have to watch the sensors here.
It's production supervisor Joy Ayala's job to ensure every single bottle is sent down the bottling line smoothly.
That is reset that button, and then the machine's gonna continue.
The process of getting the rum into the bottle begins with 120,000 bottles rolling on the line every 8 hours.
If I'm down here, I prefer to be a bottle. This bottle here are going through a roller coaster. You're gonna go through a lot, you're gonna turn upside down, you're gonna come back down, you're gonna get picked up, you're gonna get dropped. What a better roller coaster than that?
This scanner checks these bottles for chips or cracks in the glass, imaging 380 bottles per minute.
And we'll reject any potential hazard to our customers.
Then they're turned upside down and rinsed.
And one real fact here is that they get rinsed with rum. We cannot use water. The reason why we cannot use water is that residual water can affect the fruit in our rum.
Bacardi uses 80,000 gallons of rum a year just to clean the bottles. Next, the bottles head to the filling station. There's a reason the action is behind plexiglass. The bottles travel up to 50 miles per hour.
Because of all the timing, all the precision that is needed for all these bottles to get on the star wheels, if one bottle gets hung up in one of those pockets, that's a crash. So imagine picking up glass from 15 up to 30, 40 bottles. That's a lot of work.
80 injectors fill the bottles in 10 seconds. The bottles are then capped and labeled with extreme precision.
Because you have these high-speed cameras taking nothing but pictures of the front labels and the back labels.
Each label is scrutinized to ensure it's placed within a fraction of an inch of the exact position. If it's slightly off, it gets rejected and put in the back of the line. Now it's time for one final taste test. Does the Bacardi rum taste like a Bacardi rum? It's not every day employees get to taste alcohol on the job. But for select employees at Bacardi, sipping rum is not only encouraged, but required. Every day, 5 employees trained in the art of tasting Bacardi rums come to the quality laboratory and participate in a comparison test.
We taste every batch that gets produced here at Bacardi facility before it goes out the door.
They're presented 6 glasses. One glass is the control, or how Bacardi Superior is supposed to taste. And another is a blind control, which they must identify too. Their goal is to determine if the other 4 samples taste the same or are significantly different from the controls.
So far, the first 3 that I have done have matched the control. There's no significant differences.
By this stage, it is rare to find a problem with the rum. It's a rewarding moment for the employees to sit back and taste the fruits of their labor.
This is an enjoyable part of our day. We're proud of our product and we enjoy our product as much as the consumer.
And when the final glass is tested and everything passes, the rum is ready for the world.
And I have to say goodbye because more than likely, I'm not going to see it again. Goodbye, my good friend.
Here, they store up to 1 million cases of rum in their enormous 80,000 square foot warehouse. They ship to customers worldwide. Back in Puerto Rico, the Master family blenders have created 4 new rum blends. Now, they must decide which one is their favorite.
I find it so good that instead of tasting it, I'm going to drink it.
The votes are cast. They'll create just 1,000 bottles of this special 150th anniversary rum for the family and limited public.
Long live the band. Long live the band.
After days of tasting, they make their final selection. The vintage rum bases Joe chose are a success.
I like the color. I like the color a lot.
Now it's his job, along with Jose, to manually blend the new rum created by the masters.
Oh, amazing.
Much better now, huh? Like it. We are gonna be using, Jose, this barrel, maybe that one. With these 4, we should be able to accomplish our task today. This is going back in time. This is how our forefathers used to do it. We are gonna do it like in the old way, using pumps and get them from the barrel directly to a bigger oak tank. I can tell you what is in each one of these barrels. This is a secret blend. I can tell you that it's an incredible blend. It's smooth, extremely aromatic, and really give you a very lovely, lasting impression. This will make Don Facundo Bacardi proud.
And after 150 years, the family reunites to continue the tradition and enjoy a glass in tribute to the founder's rum.